Hello, this is your special education virtual content specialist with the 7th grade math lesson for June 10th. This lesson, like all other lessons, can be found on TeachHub. Each lesson comes with the title, the focus question, the learning objective, including the standards and objectives for each lesson. Additionally, we provide guidance for using this resource, including instructional and technology guidance, implementation guidance for this lesson. So please note that this is a 2-day lesson. So in previous lessons, students examined the distribution of 2 entire populations to decide whether or not they were very different. And in this particular lesson, students are using samples to make comparative inferences about populations. We also provide guidance for summarizing, guidance for assessment during instruction, and general methods of engaging with students with disabilities and multilingual learners. 7th graders are working on Unit 8, Probability and Sampling, Day 31, Comparing Populations Using Samples, Part 1. How can we compare different populations using samples? The introduction refers to a previous lesson in which students compared the heights of 2 teams of people when the entire populations were known. In this activity, students only have access to data from a sample of each population and are asked to determine if populations are different based on the sample. Students are going to construct informal arguments to explain why the different samples come from populations that are meaningfully different or not. To begin, students are going to consider what they noticed from the 2 dot plots, showing the weights of backpacks for a random sample of students from these 2 grades. Students may notice that the grade 7 backpack that has the lowest weight is 2 pounds, while the grade 7 backpack with the greatest weight is 13 pounds. They may notice that the grade 10 backpack with the least amount of weight is 10 pounds, and that the backpack with the most amount of weight is 22 pounds. They may also notice that the mode for grade 7 is 4-pound backpacks, since there are 3 students with 4-pound backpacks. They may notice that there's not necessarily a mode or a single mode for grade 10, as there are several students that have 11 pound, 13 pound, 14 pound, 15 pound, and 18 pound backpacks at 2 students each. For question 2, did any 7th grade backpacks in this sample weigh more than a 10th grade backpack? Students should notice that yes, there are 3 7th grade backpacks that weighed more than the lightest 10th grade backpack. The lightest 10th grade backpack was 10 pounds, while 3 students in the 7th grade had backpacks that weighed more than 10 pounds at 11 pounds, 12 pounds, and 13 pounds. Please note that for this portion of the Explore, originally it had questions 3 and 4 on the same slide, but in order to not overwhelm students with disabilities, I put them each on separate slides. That being said, question 3 asks, the mean weight of this sample of 7th grade backpacks is 6.3 pounds. Do you think the mean weight of backpacks for all 7th grade students is exactly 6.3 pounds? Students should note that the answer is no, because 6.3 pounds is the mean of a sample, and the population mean will be probably at least a little different. Question 4 asks, the mean weight of this sample of 10th grade backpacks is 14.8 pounds. Do you think there is a meaningful difference between the weight of all 7th grade and 10th grade students' backpacks? Explain or show your reasoning. Answers are going to vary, but a sample response would be that there is still probably a meaningful difference in the mean weights since there is very little overlap. Students may refer to the range of the 2 grades and notice that, again, there were only 3 7th grade students that had backpacks that weighed more than the lightest backpack in the 10th grade. So that is the reference to the overlap. Students may also refer to the overall range, saying that grade 7 backpacks range from 2 pounds to 10 pounds, while grade 10 backpacks range from 10 pounds to 22 pounds. Before moving on to the summary, the purpose of the discussion is for students to think about how comparing groups by using data from samples differs from comparing groups when the population is known. So you might want to ask partners to share the decision about whether the groups had a meaningful difference with the class. You may also consider these questions for discussion. Question 1. Compare the information in this activity to the information about team heights given in an earlier lesson. In that lesson, we had data from the entire population, and here it is only a sample. A second question might be, is the overlap of the data more important when you only have a sample or when you have data from the population? Explain your reasoning. Some students may say, it is more important when you only have a sample. If there is overlap with only some of the data, it's possible there is more overlap when we include more data from the population. A final discussion question you may want to give is it possible that the data in the two samples were drawn from population data that is identical? Students can answer, it is unlikely, but still possible. For the summary, students are asked to respond to the focus question. How can we compare different populations using samples? You can provide them a sample sentence starter, such as the one written here that states we can compare different populations using samples by. That way students can focus on the content of their answer rather than the sentence structure. For additional practice, students can complete the Open Up Resources practice problems. They can also complete Khan Academy Grade 7 Comparing Distributions, or engage New York Grade 7 Lesson 21 problem set. These lessons, like all other lessons, are adapted creating illustrative mathematics and open up resources, so please utilize them to support digital learning. If you have any questions, reach out to your virtual content specialist. Thank you.